Shout out to all you niggas that wanna shine. Just know it's gonna cost you a little bit. I'm gonna be real, it's gonna cost you more than a little bit, it's gonna cost you.
Donnie Houston.
Yeah, man, it's going down. It's the Donnie Houston podcast. I'm Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We got a very special guest representing Houston, man. You know what I mean? An R&B singer, man. Been doing this thing for a while, and you know, really, when it comes to Houston and you know R&B and the H, man, you know, he's really like the king around here. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. And he also happens to be my homeboy, man, Jack Freeman. What's going down?
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. King, that's just out here chilling, man. Good to see you,
I gotta give it to because who else is performing at that level? Would you say? Who can guarantee? Okay, we gonna book Jack Freeman and we gonna pack it out.
That's tough, man. I mean, there's a lot of dope artists out there.
Right, but that's not what we're talking about, though.
All right, you're right. I'm gonna be the king today.
Nah, I'm messing with you. You ain't gotta accept it, bro. I'm just saying.
No. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Nah, I mean that's something to be proud of, bro. Like because I've seen. I don't know if it was the beginning, but like early on to where now it's like, you know, man, shit, bro. You get booked, and you know, people there, man, they know the music, original music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was thinking about that a couple of days ago, really. It's kind of, you know, we all have our ideas of what eras of, at least in Houston, what the music climate was and like what your favorite era was. So like if you from the South Side, obviously that SUC is probably gonna be your favorite era, and those rappers are gonna be your favorite rappers. If you Fifth Ward, Rap a Lot probably gonna be your go-to, and everybody that was in Rap a Lot at that moment. And then if you're from the North Side like me, you know, it might be Swisher House for you, or it might be any other surrounding areas like Beltway 8 or whatever it is like for you. And it's just crazy now that like I've done so much with so many rappers from here that I came in to the situation with, but also like a lot of the people we look at as legends is like I can kind of say that I've like had a hand in at least like the next generation of like the next era of that climate of music and how we push it forward, man. So it's fun. I think I'm never really in the moment, so I really never really know like what I'm doing until I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I mean, you can see the progress, though. I'm sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see the progress. Even down from like people who had no idea who I was before, and them just kind of knowing me now, like, or them not having like seeing me and then looking at me like they don't know me, and then them calling me like, "Yo, I need you to do this for me." You know what I'm saying?
And you got to keep it player because it's like,
yeah.
Part of
but also, I don't fault them because they didn't know who I was.
Right.
like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's the start of it is just all just wow, man. Like it's crazy to see where it started and like where it is now and like where it might end up. You know what I'm saying?
So were you doing anything before? Because I remember the first thing I was seeing was like I remember like the Not At All with the Nice Guys and all that.
Yeah.
Like was there anything before that?
I literally wasn't doing nothing. Like I was, I played ball, man. I grew up playing football, running track. I always tell people I live so many different types of lives. I'm 32 now. Like I've lived so many different lives. Like there was a time where anytime you had talked to me, my path was NFL or Olympics. Like
you was that serious about trying to do it, yeah.
Like going and like looking at guys that's in the league now or people that have run probably I would say like not this Olympics but like the last 2 or 3 Olympics, like seeing them and then being able to say I competed against them, or like I was in a camp with this dude, or I was, you know, Like when it came time for like, I think my senior year I was all state. Like I was, um, I had won 2 Junior Olympic uh, gold medals before I got to high school. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like people know RG3 as the quarterback. I know RG3 as the guy with the messy shag that ran and could nobody beat him on the track. Like I knew who Jamal Charles was before I even knew he played football. Like that. So it was a completely. I loved music. I loved listening to it, but I didn't really start actually making it until I turned 20 or something like that.
So you wasn't singing like no church, no none of this shit.
I wasn't in the children's choir because children's choir was on Wednesdays and football practice for my little league team was on Wednesdays. So I just wouldn't. I probably was in the children's choir for like 2 months.
So was you because you know some people that can sing and shit, like they be playing around joking and singing.
Yeah, so I was that kid.
Yeah.
Like my family didn't really know I could sing until my sister was just telling that story a few months ago. My sister's older than me, so I'm the youngest of the family. It's 3 of us. My brother is 14 years older than me. My sister's 6 years older than me. So my sister was in the choir and in the marching band, and she played the flute, and you know she did the recitals, and she took piano lessons and all of that stuff. So we all knew my sister could sing. My brother wasn't a singer at all. My dad could sing. That's where we all got it from. So we're in the car on the way home from like church or something like that, and it's my sister's friend and me in the back seat. There's 3 of us in the back seat. My mom's in the front seat. My dad's driving, and everybody's singing or whatever. My dad's singing a song. My sister's singing a song, and then it gets quiet, and then I just start singing. And it was a collective. I was like 8. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and everybody's just like,
Hit them boy when Jesus. What?
it was kind of like that, and
That's just that too. Somebody gonna see this. If you don't know what that
Yeah.
is, you're way too young to be watching this show. You know
so
what I mean?
everybody was like, where did that even come? Like, how does he know the lyrics to this song? Like what? But I was just a sponge, man, and so I always knew I could sing. And then when I got to high school, I realized like girls kind of liked it, and so I took the Jamie Foxx approach. So I would just like sing just as a joke, or I would make a song up about food. So they beating on the table, but I was also like trying to freestyle like everybody else too. You know what I mean? But it just wasn't what I was into, because I thought growing up, I thought you could only be one thing.
I got caught up in it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I thought like, well, if I'm playing ball, studio ain't like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? The only thing I knew was I better have my grades and I better do what I'm supposed to do on the football field. And it wasn't like there was any coach that said, "Oh, you can make music." Coaches be wanting all your time. They want all that time. So, yeah, it's just kind of how it started. Like, I just felt like anything my dad could do, I could do. Which is why it's important to have a dad around, because
That's where your confidence and all that.
everything. Like,
So what is your dad doing? What is he like? Is he known for singing, or he just someone who could sing?
So my dad, growing up, sang at like little talent shows. Like, he's from Austin, so he sang at like little talent show. No, mostly at Prairie View. Him and his homies had a group, and he would always just tag along with the group, and they was drinking buddies, and they was just all of that or whatever. And they would go to little towns and they do these talent shows. So like they would go like Navasota or something like that and go. And then my dad might jump up there and sing a little bit, but he was just always with the crew. But when he started really, really singing was around college, but then he started singing in the choir when I was growing up. So like anytime I ever wanted to see my dad sing, I just go to church. But he was the man in the choir that could sing, so they had him leading all the songs. You know what I'm saying? So watching that, it was just like, oh, my dad sing, but it just never really, like, it never really registered that much to me. But my dad was never really a guy that, he was never in the studio like that. Like he wasn't trying to make that type of thing go because he was an engineer. Like he went to school, became a civil engineer, and ran Harris County Public Infrastructure for my entire life. So he was also a person that lived a couple of different lives. Like people that knew him at work knew him as Jackie Freeman. That's my boss, right? But then he would come home and then he would be this dad that's at all of the games, cheering us on, at the recitals, at whatever's going on for us. And then also on Sundays, he pop up and he's singing. And all the women almost throwing their drawers at the church, and my mom just sitting there like, here they go. You know what I mean? It was just, it was a wild, I always say my family was kind of like the Huxtables, man. Like, it's just like, like, obviously our families have, you know, their difficulties and all that kind of stuff, but like, you know, everything y'all wanted to see in a man was right there. It still is right there. You know what I'm saying? And my mom is everything you want to see in a black woman, raising her family and being a wife and being a mother and being all the things, and still having a job and doing her thing and doing things the way she liked to do it, and being who she is. So I just always felt like I could do anything I wanted to do. And so when I stopped playing football, I was like, I think I could write a song. Like that's literally, I'll be wanting to tell people.
Did you play at PV? Or you?
No,
or you
when
I
went to UTEP. I played football at UTEP for 2 years.
No shit.
Yeah, I was on a football scholarship at UTEP, and which was a whole nother like culture shock. You know, playing with guys that had a nice career in the league. You know, all that stuff. But you know, playing for a coach that's kind of a legend. I played for Mike Price for 2 years. Like I got to see that, and I got to see what Division I college football is like. And you know, so I can always kind of relate to what a lot of the kids are going through and a lot of the guys that's in the league right now, because it was run kind of the same way. By the time I got to Prairie View, I was done playing ball.
What did you fall out of love with? You got an injury or something, or what happened?
I just fell out of love with it pretty much. I remember my last game was Thanksgiving weekend, 2008. We went to East Carolina and played this game. I wasn't playing much at all, really. And I found myself not having fun. And I came home for the Christmas holiday, and I just asked my dad, I was like, what would you say if I didn't want to play ball no more? And he was like, I'd ask why, because you've been playing since you were 6 years old. Like, you know, what's going on? I said, it's just not fun. And he said, do you think you should transfer? I said, I don't know, but I know that this is not fun. Like, I'm not enjoying none of this. I don't like practice. I don't like the workouts. I don't like getting talked too crazy to these coaches. I don't like the fact that they don't use me the way that I should be used as an athlete. I don't like the fact that I got here and they told me I could run track, and when they went 4-8 my redshirt year and I didn't play, because I was a redshirt, they told me I needed to be there for camp. I'm like, no, y'all went 4-8. I was a redshirt. Like, I remember a coach right after that, my exit meeting with the wide receiver coach. He was like, I think you're fast, but I think you should clean up your routes a little bit more. I think you could stand to gain a few more pounds. He said, I think you're a great athlete, but I think you like track more. And I told him, I said, here's the thing. I'm 5'8". I'm 160 pounds soaking wet. If I ran a 4.7 40, I wouldn't be here. I'm here because I run a 4.3. And I'm here and I run that 4.3 because I'm naturally fast, but also because I never get tired. So when everybody's dead tired at practice, I can run that route over and over and over and over and over again. Because for me, as an athlete, the way I looked at it was, yeah, you can run a 4.3 one time at the combine, but in the fourth quarter, can you run a 4.3? And I was one of those kids that could run a 4.3 and a 4.3 and a 4.3 and a 4.3 and a 4.4 and a 4.4 and a 4.4 and almost never break off, right? And a lot of that had to do with track. and I don't think they understood that, which I guess it's not their job to really understand it if you just understand football. But it was a whole lot of that going into it. And I said, all of that, and I'm not getting paid? Like, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. Y'all selling our jerseys in the bookstore. Y'all filling the stands with 60,000 people whenever we playing. It just was a lot. And I don't think I was mature enough. I don't think I was mature enough to handle those bumps and really try to make my own way. You know, because looking back on it, would I have transferred? Probably. But also looking back on it, I probably would have took a track scholarship. Because football hurts, bro. People can say what they want about them checks and how they, you know, it hurts. You know what I mean? Like, concussions hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, I mean, you just seeing it now with these, you know, the long-term effects of this shit, man. With these
Yeah.
NFL players, like, flipping out and all that shit.
Yeah, man. And I got a lot of homies that played, and their bodies are just different. You know, I got homies with 3 Achilles tears. Tore one, you tore the other, you tore the other one. You know what I mean?
Boys
and a
ain't
neck
even,
injury.
Boys ain't even 40.
Not even, they're my age. They're 32, 33 years old.
That's the code.
With 3 Achilles surgeries, a neck surgery, back bad, knees done went haywire on them, you know, concussions galore. And I'm talking about these are guys that didn't play long in the NFL or didn't play in the NFL at all. You know what I'm saying? And I got out of there before all of that. Like, I got all of that. You know, I had a concussion or two, but, like, you can't find a surgery scar on me. You can't find a, you know, a chronic injury on me. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I was just glad I got out of it. So, the story with PV was I get the PV my fall of 09, and a family friend of mine told the staff that I was on campus. And Coach Frazier, who was the coach at the time, had offered me a scholarship to PV when I was a sophomore. But it was in a roundabout way, like, hey, if you ever just want to come to PV, I got you. It wasn't no, we want you here, we need you. It wasn't like that. So they was like, go find him. I'm like, shit, let me go get this conversation out the way. I'm 3 weeks into school, like, you know. So I go talk to the coaches, and he was like, look, I've already talked to your coaches at UTEP. I can get your release papers today from the NCAA. You could practice with us now. I can have you on scholarship by January, and you'll be starting by the end of the spring. And I'm looking at him like, I could start now. But also, I don't want to play anymore. Because I understood the business by then. I'm like, you turning the program around, you're gonna win conference, and then you're gonna leave after a year. And then I got to deal with another new coach, and I don't want to deal with that. And then my body and my mind just wasn't in on that. So that's what happened there. And by then, I was already kind of kicking it with the nice guys and all of that stuff. And so 09 is when I really started making music. You know?
And so y'all do the Not At All.
Yeah.
And what, you just wrote, y'all just, at this time, you're like really doing music, and when you come up with that shit at that point.
Yeah. So I met Omar, DJ Candlestick, and Eve when I was 18 years old, and I was still a senior in high school at Texas Relays. Because my cousin is Candlestick's frat brother. I didn't know either one of these dudes rapped or made beats or DJ'd or anything like that. So they took me to this party because Texas Relays got rained out. It was the coldest Texas Relays in history. And now that I look back on it, I'm thinking, like, this is probably fate intervening, right? Because Texas Relays is always in April, right? Around Easter. It was 35 degrees in Austin and raining on the final day of Texas Relays. I'm supposed to be running a final that day. They completely canceled the whole day. I end up in a car with a nigga named DJ Candlestick. And then in the car on the way, I meet a nigga named Eve. And 2 years later is when I finally start making music with them. Because while I'm at UTEP, I'm like, yo, you should let me like sing a hook for y'all. Like, he was like, let me hear you. So I sang something, and he was like, oh shit, like you can like sing for real, for real. It's like, yeah. So when I got there, I hung out so much at Cullen Oaks and U of H that people thought I went to U of H. And they also thought I was an alpha because everybody around us was alphas. So they were recording in Free's room. He had the mic and he had these headphones that you can only hear out of one ear or whatever. So we had, like, looking back on it, none of us knew what we were doing. None of us. We were all learning this at the same pace, really. And so when we finally did Not At All, that was when they really started taking the music seriously, and we finally went to a real studio. Now, I had been to a real studio, but it was in L.A. I used to date a girl that was a singer. That was the first recording artist that I had ever met, like, that did it full time. And her dad was the songwriter. So her dad wrote the song by the originals called Sunrise. Sunrise is the song that Kanye sampled for Guess Who's Back. So Michael Sutton's daughter, I was dating her at the time. And so my second semester while I was at UTEP still, I went off to LA and did some work with them. And that was my first time really recording in a real studio. So I had been to one before, but I was also like, oh, I'm finna sing a hook for these dudes, right? So we do Not At All. Me and Eve wrote that hook in the car. And it took about a couple of weeks for us to like book a studio session. And so I knocked it out. And after that, things just really just kind of like switched. You know what I mean? Like, it was, because while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do as an artist, like solo, because I still didn't know what I was doing, I was able to kind of like move around with them and sing as another portion of the 265 crew, Nice Guys crew. So, you know, that's where performing came from for me, because I had never performed before in my life. And the first time we performed is an opening we opened for J. Cole, his first show in Houston. And
that was at Warehouse?
Yeah, Warehouse.
Yeah,
But the night before, he did the black student, whatever it is that they have at Texas A&M every year. We did that too. And then, so for me, it was just a Showtime thing. It was like, on the track, it's like if you're nervous in the 4x4, you're the anchor. Like, I was the anchor leg. So it's 25,000 people here at Texas Relay. So whether you're nervous or not, you're gonna have to run, right? So that's when I learned, like, eventually you're gonna have to perform this. And so we record Not At All like November, December. By February, I'm on stage opening for J. Cole. And then it just, from there, it was just like, okay, I guess I'm here.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in it, you know?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I just started doing the rap hooks. I remember it was a song called Figure It Out. I remember I used to fuck with that back then. It was early on.
Yeah. Still trying to, like, again, like, it's funny you say that, because I was still trying to figure out how to make music. I didn't know what it was. I heard it and seen it done before and all of that kind of stuff, but like, I didn't know what it took to actually do this kind of stuff. And you know, I just had a lot of really cool people around me that kind of knew that I didn't know what I was doing, and they just kind of like showed me some love. And which is why I always am gonna love and respect, you know, James Kelly from Wire Road, because when I wanted to do my EP, he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And he did it for free. I didn't, you know, he did the whole thing for free.
No shit.
Yeah. And then, you know, he gave me, let me come in and record whenever he had time and all that kind of stuff. And it was cool. And at that time, my family still only really didn't know that I was making music. Like, they didn't know. Like, because I didn't really want to come to them with him until I had like a complete thing, or else I knew I was like really serious about it. So it was just, this whole thing has just been a whirlwind. And, you know, coming from where I'm from, and again, like, being able to like look at some of these rappers and like be able to talk to them and come up with them, like like I came up on Swisher House. Like my first CD, we had he gonna bug out if he see this. My guy Cedric Day, right? I saw him 2 weeks ago for the first time in like 3 or 4 years. Cedric Day, we went to middle school together. So I grew up in the area, Inwood. So I went to Inwood Elementary, I went to Drew Academy, and I went to Bethune. Now these were all magnet schools. So I would have gone to Inwood, Hoffman, and then Eisenhower, right? But that's not how I went. So I ended up at Drew with these dudes, a little bit older than me too. They was a year older than me. Cedric Day, my boy Jonathan Green, call him Chop 'em Up Green now, you're DJ and shit. I got Chris Jackson, Chris Houston, all of these dudes, my guy Gerard Lewis, we would all just be kicking it. And Cedric was one of the first people I knew that had a CD burner. So we was bootlegging Swisher House CDs because we couldn't really afford, like, we couldn't afford, like, at that time, if you had the real CD, you kind of had some bread. Because 15, like, you know, we 12 years old, like, where we going to get $15 to just go buy a CD every week? They were dropping CDs every week. And he had a CD burner, and he would burn CDs, and he would sell them to us for $5. And my first Swisher House CD that I bought with my lunch money was Northside 11. And now, if you turn on Northside 11, I could rap every lyric proudly. Like, you know, and it's crazy because if you remember Northside 11, the first song on it is Slim Thug. And now I got a couple records with Slim. You know what I'm saying? And
shit, we did one with Slim.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, what's the name of the song, bro?
Was it Next Level?
Next Level.
Next Level, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Like that. You know, like Swisher House, and because I'm 32, and at the time, like, because I was so young, like Big Pimpin' didn't register to me that these niggas might have been from here, because I was too young. That was what, 98, 99?
That was 99, 2000.
99, 2000. So I'm 11 years old, 12, maybe. I was born in 88, so maybe 12. So like, but it just, something was so familiar to me about it. Like they sound like people I know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Pimp sound like somebody I know. And then, so like, but you couldn't tell me about rappers because I'm like, yeah, Jay-Z cool. Like he cool, and I like Snoop, and I like all of them dudes. But like my favorite rapper growing up was 50-50 Twin.
No shit.
It was 50-50 Twin.
It's that 50-50
Twin. Got in the corner skin of my Benz. Peep came through Fendi lens. Passed me the damn ink pen. As the ink started to drop out, even more harder phrases leak out. Ooh, man, I used to listen to 50-50 Twin so much. And Chameleon there and Paul, and then we was always like people rapping on the bus, like people beating on the table and all that kind of stuff, just like everybody else. And I remember somebody was trying to freestyle, they start flowing or whatever, and somebody be like, man, you sound like one of them Southside niggas. They be like, damn, so Southside niggas rap like this, okay, and then like this rap like this. I still remember, like vaguely remembering hearing on downside where I stay on the radio. And I'm like, what does this man know about Antoine? Like, is he from here? And then I'm like, oh, like because I'm a kid. So I'm like, oh, like Mad Hatter. Okay, cool. I hear him on the radio every day. Like, it's certain stuff that's attached to like my childhood that's like when I have dreams, if I have dreams I'm at home, no matter how old I am in the dream, I dream that I'm in the house that I grew up in. Like never even in the one that I moved to when I was 13, 14. Like it's always that house. Like I could be living my life right now, me and you can be in this dream and we would be at that house. Because everything is attached to that. It's the wildest thing, man. Like,
yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, I could probably say the same thing. I got something similar to that.
yeah.
Man, what would you say? What would you say was the change though, man? Because it's like even just being an R&B artist in Houston. For one, trying to do music in Houston is hard alone. You know what I'm saying? Alone by itself, bro. But maneuvering through that shit as an R&B artist, you do the rap hooks and all that. That was cool. But then it was like at some point it seemed like it was just like a turn of events where it just turned up. You know what I mean? Was that after dropping Define Love? Was that what kicked it off, like really saying, all right, this finna be the project?
Um, I think what it was the visibility of R&B artists. So like, if you remember 2009, 2010, 2011, you really can't even really remember hearing R&B music like that. Like, because even then, the ones that had it, that were our R&B superstars at that moment, they were all making pop music. Chris Brown had pop records at the time. Neo was doing pop. Usher was doing pop. D'Angelo was somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like John Legend was around. But I think even at one point John had done a couple of pop songs that was kind of, you know, like it. So when I came out, there really was nowhere for R&B to be played or heard, because everything was so hip hop centric. Everything was rap, and or rap or house, or EDM, you know. So it was just a matter of me having the stamina to keep doing it, because it really, like, the only way I could do it was by doing a hook for somebody. So it really wasn't a whole lot of, like, when I wanted my music to get put up on the internet, I had to go to Two Dope Boys. I had to go to You Heard That New. I had to go to OK Player, you know, smoking section, right? So at that time, during the blog era, obviously, here's the new Currency record. Here's the new J. Cole. Here is
The new Wiz.
this Wiz record. Here's this one guy from LA named Kendrick Lamar. Here is this new shit by Big Sean or whatever. Jack Freeman. Here is Nice Guys. Here is the new, Smoke Dizza. Here is such and such. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, I was like a liner note for a lot of stuff. So, and I don't really know if people was really just feeling it like that, because they were trying to hear the rap music. And, you know, people used to go to them blogs just to go hate. So it's like, they used to hate on the Nice Guys super hard. And they, you know, it would just always be like, they looking for that. They wasn't really checking for me like that. And I think what kind of helped was that it really did kind of open up for R&B. So when Define Love did come out, you know, by then, Chris had been back to R&B. And D'Angelo had put out an album by then. And SZA was kind of bubbling then. And, all of these artists, man, Dream, you know, all of these people were back to really, really making R&B music, and we were all able to kind of like live in that space together. And I think that's when it turned, when people just had their ears open for it. Because before that, I was just the hook guy. And I had projects out. It just was, it was just like, okay. And in Houston, it is hard. It is hard because everybody that I know that pursued R&B seriously left. And because there wasn't no R&B label really, like maybe Music World. But Music World was Destiny Child Records for pretty much, you know what I'm saying? And then he started doing gospel, you know? So everybody left. They went to Atlanta and LA and, you know, wherever else they could to really get their music off, and I just didn't leave. Part of it because I couldn't afford to leave, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Man, talk about real quick the Scarface stuff, man, the hot seat and all that. Cause didn't you go to? I heard you went to jail or something.
Yeah, Steve-O told that story, huh?
Somebody,
I think Steve-O. Steve-O said he told you that story. So okay, I'm leaving the barber. It's a Friday. I'm getting ready to go to Austin. Like, I'm gonna go home, get my bag. I'm going to Austin, and I'm on 1960. Riding, getting to turning, about to turn on the 290. I get rear-ended into another car. So the wreck wasn't even my fault. My mom at the time wasn't retired, but I knew she worked like 5 minutes away. I said, Mom, I got in a wreck, and I know I got traffic warrants from like 5 years ago. So she rushes up there. We sit in the car. They pull me out of the car. They cuff me in front of my mama. And everybody that was involved in the wreck is just looking at me like. So I get damn near perp walk to this car, drive me to the station. As I'm driving to the station, the guy's like, "You ever been to jail before?" I'm like, "No." He was like, "Well, it's cool. It's traffic warrants. You get time served. You'll be out by 11 o'clock tonight." Cool. I get in there. They take like maybe 30 minutes to process me in. It was like 8 o'clock. I saw the judge at 10 o'clock the last night, because at Friday, once you don't see the judge after that,
It's a wrap. Yeah, you got to wait till Monday.
It's a wrap. You might as well get comfortable. So I saw the judge. He was like, "Okay, you got time served." I was like, "Cool, I'm going home." I got out at 10 o'clock the next morning. So I did. I be joking with people, but like when you in jail, like you be trying to figure out what you might know that you could tell somebody so you can get out of there. like I know somebody sell dope in here somewhere. And it was just embarrassing. It was like one of the COs in there went to school with me at PV. Like I'm just sitting in there like, bro, I don't belong in here. And that's when I realized that Harris County Jail and probably HPD and all that other stuff, they probably sit you in there with people from the area that you in. Because everybody in that tank was Northside. 1960 and Rankin and Kirkendall and Gulf Bank.
Bunch of niggas from around the way.
Bunch of niggas from the north. I don't know any of them, but I also can probably deduce that maybe you put some Southside niggas in here, it might be a fight. Because these guys don't have any understanding, right? So I'm thinking like, man, like, how can I get out of here? Because I'm not built for jail. Like, bro, I like hats, and I wear cool shoes, and I'm just not built for this. Which is why I never got into the street. Like, one, because I was not raised that way, but also two, like, I don't like the police talking to me, let alone cuffing me. I don't want to talk to you at all. So anyway, I get out Saturday. I'm mad because my car is in the impound. Well, it's got to go to collision center at this point. It's probably like $5,000 worth of damage to this car. And then Sunday, I'm super depressed about all of this stuff. Steve-O calls me on a Sunday and he says, "Yo, you want to do this Scarface record?" And I said, "Excuse me?" He says, "Scarface." I said, like Ghetto Boy Scarface. He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Absolutely." I said, "But when though? Because I don't have my car. I got to like coordinate a ride or whatever." He's like, "Probably Thursday, we're going to be at James Hoover Studio on the Southwest." I said, "Okay, cool." He's like, "Wait, what happened to your car?" Because at first I said, "Send me the record so I can write it." He was like, "Nah, Brad don't like sending records." Cool. He was like, "You good? Like, where's your car? Like, what happened to your car?" I said, "Man, long story short, I got in a wreck. I ended up going to jail. So my car is in the shop, basically, in the tow yard." He's like, "Damn, what's crazy? The song about being in jail." And then he said, "Give me 5 minutes." So he called Brad. He's like, "Yo, I don't know what happened to him, but he just got out of jail." He said, "Send it to him right now." So he sends me the beat. As soon as the song comes on, I literally wrote that verse in my head in 5 minutes. And I sat on it until Thursday. I called my barber, who's one of my best friends. Called him. I said, "Yo, it's an emergency. I need to get to the studio and record this shit for Scarface." I think he was still in barber school at the time. He left barber school. He came, picked me up in my crib in Cypress. We drove to Stafford. And I recorded that in the studio like an hour and a half before Brad even got there. So Brad walks in and he says, "All right, what y'all got?" So he comes in and I'm like, "Damn, this is Scarface." But like I've met him twice, but it was like in passing, like as a fan type thing, right? But I'm like, no, I'm really in here with Scarface. And he said, "What you got?" So he played it, and he heard that, "Oh, sitting in the concrete couch just waiting." He paused it and he laughed at me, and I looked at my boy Ro. He's like, "Oh yeah, you definitely went to jail. What? Where you go to county?" I said, "Yeah, man." So we laughed, and he didn't even listen to the rest of the hook. Like I remember this. He didn't listen to the rest of the hook probably until like the next day or something like that.
No shit.
No shit.
Concrete couches, no.
When he heard Concrete Couch, it was like, oh, he fell on hard times, brother. So, yeah, and then that started with that, man, and then the beat, the sample. I think the beat got used for "Beautiful" by Game and Ross. Like 2 months later, I'm like, shit, well, that record's not getting used. Let's say my one Scarface record is not getting used. Then N.O. Joe called me like 5 months later and was like, "Hey, is this you on this record?" I was like, "Yeah." Like Brad didn't even know my name at the time. I did the record, he didn't know my name. He's like, "Yeah, I asked Brad who was on the song so we can give him his credit," and he said, "I don't know, some nigga from Houston." And he said, "But I knew it was you." So listen to this, and the beat sounded completely different because he remade the entire thing. He replayed everything, and that's how I got on my Scarface record. And then I end up being his background singer.
And y'all been moving around traveling and shit.
Moving around, traveling. Man, shout out to Scarface, man. Hoping that he's healthy. All that kind of stuff. And but yeah, traveling with Scarface is an adventure. It's just like a lot of times I feel like I'm Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump just kind of like attached to things that happened in the grand scheme of everything. It's just like, between him and then being around some of these other guys that just kind of like, just meeting people and just having because it's funny that so many of the people that have passed in the last couple of years, like I kind of have like a story that kind of puts me like right side by side with that in a different way. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, like being around Scarface is just like, because he's Scarface, and then everybody knows that he's Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Like, like George Clinton, and then like I was in L.A. and I got on the tour bus. We had a show in Inglewood. I got on the tour bus and Flavor Flav walked out the bathroom. And I'm like, does anybody else see this? Like, because like when you're in this business, like you realize like there's so many things that happen to us that a regular person could not wrap their mind around. Like, what average person can say, "Oh, I met Flavor Flav before." like you would just be like, where's that even come from? You know what I mean? So it's fun.
Man, before we get up out of here, man, let's talk about this Melyssa Ford thing, man. Had her all in the leotard, all on the ground, man. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Melyssa, man. Now Melyssa, somebody sent her my music, and she took a grand liking to the music and just really wanted to help me in my career in a lot of ways. Obviously I got the messages from boys like, "Yo, what's going on with you?" And it's like, there's nothing going on with me and Melyssa. I respect Melyssa 100%, but she really helped me and put me in the game on a few things, and just for being a stand-up human being, and her just utilizing her contacts and her pool from when she was like super in the industry, and kind of like using those cards to kind of like get me where I probably should be, and her just being a helping hand and just being an ear all the time, and that's the homie, man. Like she really, like she came, she heard the music, we talked, she came to the show like a couple of days later, and then she started bringing homies to the show. And so now we at these shows, and her little area is like 20 deep of just people that she done brought, like like a group of 4 homies that she knows, and them homies is bringing other homies, and then them homies bringing other homies, and now that they've become friends of mine, and things like that. So you know, she really, man, she really helped me out more than most people I could say, like in the industry, like that really could have done some things to like help out or whatever, like just a nudge. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get that, you can just get a nudge, and it's like sometimes people don't really want to do that, and they think they say they want to do it, but they don't. You know what I mean? So, so much love to her, man.
Already, man. Well, shit, bro. Man, what you got before we get up out of here, man?
And working on the album right now. Just grinding away at it, man. Like it's creating the album is kind of draining a little bit. Because you go through so many different emotions, and you go through so many feelings, and then you listen to things ad nauseum, and then you realize, you think like, oh, this shit might not be that good. You know what I mean? Like, or it's like, nah, this is jamming, and then you hear it after a while, you're like, oh no. Like that's kind of my process a lot of times. So, working on the record, man. I got me and Chris Rockaway still going at it with the music. Working on some things with the Problem Solvers, working some things with Mark Bird. Got a couple records with B Cox, man. If B Cox ever decides we want to finish the record, can we do that, please? Donnie Scance, got some records with him, man, and
Man, we had a record we had started one time, man, and never
did.
finished that hoe, man.
we gotta like actually really, really do some records.
Yeah.
No, like for real, do some records, cause I feel like that session, it was just kind of weird.
It was a lot going on then.
It was a lot going on. The guy that ran the room was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It was some, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It was just.
It was a different kind of thing going on.
Yeah. So we definitely got to do it, man, and create some magic. And I know it's tons of rappers that probably watch this and all of that kind of stuff, man. Look, I'm gonna just say this: some of y'all need me. Which camera am I looking at? Which camera should I look at? Some of y'all need me to really make your album jam. I'm just saying. Like, a lot of y'all be jamming. Like, all of them, most of the ones know that know. D-Lo, Propane, Kyle, Killer Callion, Keke, Face, Bun. We got to work on some shit too. We started on it, but we didn't finish it. But like it's really a lot of rappers that I really want to get in there and like just meet them in they element and do some stuff with, man. Like Pokey album. Like I really wanted to do Pokey album. Like I didn't even know Pokey was working on the album until it came out, and it was jamming. It was jamming so hard. You know what I'm saying? So I really want to get back into that and do more hooks, and because it's fun to me, man. I think it's fun. So working on the album, working on some merchandising and all that kind of stuff, trying to get that together, and trying to find my happy place, man. That's the biggest thing right now, because so much shit going on, man. So but yeah, man.
See, you just said something, man. You kind of breezed by, but that's real shit, bro. Like, let's say finding a happy place, man. Like,
yeah, because it's hard, man. It really is. When you're not in your right state, and you're not present, you can't be present in the moment, because you always feel like, at least for me, you always feel like there's so much more that you can do, and you're not doing enough, and things are not moving fast enough. And you know what I'm saying, like when you really step back and do the like everything good, you know what I mean, like your mental state can really affect everything. It affects you, the way you do everything, and it affects the way you interact with people, and it affects the way you make music. And so when you're not in your happy place, you gotta find it. And sometimes it takes a long time for people to do that because they try to pinpoint and figure that out. And I've always, like, I got to start my podcast back up. But, like, when I did my podcast, the Jack of All Trades podcast, I was interviewing all different people that I thought were more interesting to me, right? But the first thing I would always ask them is just, like, how are you doing? Like, how, like, outside of, like, we know you getting money. Like, we know you getting money. I see the car. You know, I see that. Like, how are you doing? How's your family? You going through some shit? You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times these guys go to media, like on the radio or and all that stuff, and they just be in a bad space. And that one question triggers them, and then and then they go somewhere, and they not pinpointing. They're thinking, oh, this nigga done went crazy, or this chick done went crazy.
They already came in there with some shit on their mind.
They already came in there with the homie done got killed, grandma got cancer, you know, nephew is out here wilding in the streets, and you know, somebody in the family is on drugs, and you wake up to that, and they come in with bad energy. And it's not bad energy that they're trying to bring, it's energy that, like, we really, even if it's just their career, they tired of the label, they tired of, they done just had a fight with their manager over something that got posted on whatever, and, you know, it's just a lot. And, you know, sometimes you got to do that maintenance, because if you don't do that maintenance, man, this shit will drive you crazy, man. Yeah. You know, it'll, because you have your idea of what success is, and if you're not meeting that idea of success, then it's you looking in the mirror and it's like, no, it's you. Like, it's like you're not doing enough. When really looking back on it, you might actually be doing all right. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just not happening as quickly as you want it to happen all the time. So that's what I would always say to people, and especially artists that are trying at this moment, whether they established or they not established, and they just trying to start out. Like, you got to find your balance and the things that work for you. Because I'm still trying to find mine. So, yeah, man.
Already, well, man, I appreciate you coming through, man.
Hey, you know, I appreciate being here. You know, like I said, I'm a cool kid now because I get to be on Donnie Houston podcast.
Oh, man, knock it off, man.
Like, I done, you know, y'all done had the legends up in here, man. Y'all done had everybody, man. Y'all done had Flipperachi. Mm-hmm. Y'all done had, who else y'all done had up in here? Too many to count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would you just have Spice One in here? You know, Spice One, dog. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, man. But, you know, it just, hey, man, speaking of that, while we here, man, if you watching and you ain't subscribed, man, subscribe, man. We need
subscribe,
subscribers, man. We trying to get 20,000.
I'm subscribed.
Already. That's what
what you trying to hit?
20,000.
20,000? What you at now?
Like 9, maybe like, I'm probably like 225 away. Some shit like that.
Ah, man. Come on now. Y'all got to subscribe, man. Subscribe to the Donnie Houston podcast because he's doing really good work out here, man. That's my guy, man. We've been knowing each other for quite some time, man. So, yeah, man. Subscribe to the Donnie Houston podcast. All my followers and friends and all that kind of stuff. Even all my Eastern European followers and stuff like that, y'all should follow the Donnie Houston podcast because there's some folks out there that really fuck with Houston, like the music.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's crazy.
For sure.
Matter of fact, before we go, quick story. I'm in Kazakhstan. I'm in Almaty, Kazakhstan. I'm at a party. It's like midnight, right? First thing that happens to me while I'm at this party, this guy tells me to pose, wants to take a picture of me. So he's taking a picture. I'm like, oh, this is like...
in the mix.
It's exactly what it was. It's craziest shit ever. So I'm at the party. This young dude, maybe 23, 24, something like that, walk up to me and he's like, man, I love your swag, bro. How are you doing? And then Kazakhstan is weird because it's like you have Eastern Europeans, but then you have Asians. And so they have like this, like it's this mix of like different cultures and different races all in one. And so you can't really tell a lot of times this, like it's an Asian person speaking to you, but they're speaking Russian or Kazakh or something like that. It's like, oh, Like, I don't even really know where I am on the map, honestly. So the dude says, I love your swag, man. Where you from? I said, I'm from Houston, Texas. You know anything about Houston? And before I could finish the sentence, he said, Houston? Oh my God, I love Chameleon there. I said, what? He said, yeah. In DePaul Wall, in Slim Thug, and Mike Jones, and the Swisher House. Do you know them? He said, do you know them? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I'm actually on a Slim Thug album. Like, and he was like, no way. I said, yeah. I said, my name is Jack Freeman. I said, but look, I pulled it up on Apple Music and I pulled up Next Level and Boss Talk or whatever. I said, yeah, it's me. Oh my God, man, can I have a picture with you? I was like, and that's when I realized, like, oh, I don't know if they really know how many people really, really fuck with them like that. Like, I'm on the other side of the world. This is a 12-hour time difference. I'm in a historically Soviet country. Like, and they out there talking about Slim and Paul and I knew if it was him, I knew it had to be more guys like that. It was the wildest thing ever. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Crazy. So yeah, man, shout out to the Eastern European followers. If you follow the Donnie Houston podcast. That's the guy right here, man.
I really appreciate it. And what's your social? I mean, everybody follow.
My Instagram is I am Jack Freeman. That's the only one I really use. You can add me on Facebook, but I don't really use my Facebook. I don't really do none of that. So I'm not on Twitter anymore. So we'll talk about that later. But
Right.
I feel so much better without Twitter. But yeah, Instagram, I am Jack Freeman. Everything you need to find on me is right there. I got links in my bio. You can find all the music. It's all on all streaming platforms. Yeah, man, stay tuned, bro. And go listen to the back catalog.
Already, that's what it is. It's Donnie Houston Podcast, Jack Freeman. Hey, man, we out.
Donnie Houston.